Greetings fellow guitar travellers, it's Rowan J Parker here and welcome to another episode of Music Theory 101. And this episode is all about the melodic minor scale. We're going to have a look at the construction of the scale and its harmonisation, and give you a little thing you can play over it as well. So it should be a lot of fun. Let's get straight down to it. This week's episode of Music Theory 101, the melodic minor scale. Let's rock, jazz, fusion, assorted styles. Let's do it. Now the melodic minor scale is the last of the three really common diatonic scales, the other two being natural minor or Aeolian and harmonic minor. Now we've looked at the construction of both those scales, but it would be worthwhile going back over the construction of natural minor, harmonic minor, just so that when we look at the melodic minor scale we can see how it differs. Okay, so here is a quick reminder of the C natural minor scale, which is C, D, E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat and C. And the intervallic construction of a natural minor scale is root, major second, minor third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, minor sixth, minor seventh and root or octave. Or if you prefer jazz terminology, it's 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7 and 1. Now, the harmonic minor scale that we looked at last time differs from this in only one note. The 7th degree is raised one semitone, and that would give us this sound, which intervallically is root, major second, minor third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, minor sixth, and then a major seventh interval. And that's what gives the harmonic minor scale its distinctive sound, this minor third 3 semitone interval between the flat and 6 and the major 7. Alright, now melodic minor, the construction of melodic minor is just one alteration to that. So what happens in the melodic minor scale is that we raise the 6th degree as well. So in that case, C melodic minor would be these notes, which is C, D, E flat, F, G, A, B and C. So the intervallic construction of this one is root, major second, minor third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, major sixth, major seventh and root or octave. Now one of the interesting things about a melodic minor scale is you can view it as an alteration to a minor scale that you know, so you think about it as a natural minor scale with a raised 6 or 7, or a harmonic minor scale with a raised 6, but you can also view it as a major scale with a flattened third, because a C major scale would be C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, okay? And C melodic minor is C, D, E flat, F, G, A, B, C. However, I prefer to think of it more as an alteration to a minor scale, because I know if I've got some sort of C major sound in my head, then I'll not be thinking about a minor thing at all. But nevertheless, it's true that the intervallic construction does produce that particular sound. Okay, so that looks at the interval construction of the scale. Let's talk a little bit about the history behind the scale, why it evolved, and some of the little peculiarities about the melodic minor scale. The harmonic minor scale was developed to assist the creation of strong harmonies in minor keys, and for that it works perfectly well. However, the awkward interval between the flattened 6th and the major 7th caused some difficulty because it was considered to be quite dissonant and a bit too angular sounding, and it was difficult, especially for singers, to sing an interval of a minor third. So for this reason, the melodic minor scale was created, and it gets its name from the fact that the melodic contour of the scale is smoothed out by the raising of the flattened 6 to the major 6, producing a smoother melodic flow to the scale, hence the word melodic minor. So that's the reason for the creation of the melodic minor, to kind of get away from the dissonance inside the harmonic minor scale. However, in traditional classical music, they used to do an interesting thing with melodic minor. On the way up, the 6th and 7th degrees would be raised as compared to a natural minor scale, but on the way down, they'd be flattened back to their original pitch. So let me just explain that a little better. In C melodic minor, traditional way of playing melodic minor, ascending would be C, D, E flat, F, G, A, B and C, but descending would be C, B flat, A flat, G, F, E flat, D and C. So one way up but the other way down, which is a bit unusual, but that's exactly what it is. So let's have a listen to it played the traditional way. The reason it was played differently on the way down is because the melodic contour of the descending natural minor scale seemed to sound alright or acceptable, and therefore didn't require any alterations. Now if you play classical music, classical piano, classical guitar, you'll have played melodic minor scales like this, with a raised 6th and 7th ascending, but with them flattened back to the natural pitches descending. However, in a modern application of melodic minor, we don't change the scale on the descending part. It is the same in both directions, i.e. it sounds like this in both directions. In which case it's often called the jazz minor scale, or sometimes called a real melodic minor scale. Same in both directions, and we use it for playing all sorts of funky altered chords and other interesting sounds. So the next thing to do now is, now we know how the scale is constructed, is look at the harmonisation of the scale and see the somewhat odd chord scale that the melodic minor scale produces. So let's do that. Okay, that will do it for this week's episode. I had originally intended to make this just one video, but there's really too much information to put on just one, and I think your brain will melt if I fling any more at you today. So we will save up the remainder, all the chord scale information and the names of the melodic minor modes, for next week's episode, part 2. Before I sign off, I'd like to encourage you to have a look at my website, www.rowanjparker.com. I know I've talked about the website incessantly, but go and have a look if you've not already done so. You can subscribe to the website just by sticking your email address in the subscribe box, hit subscribe, and you get access to lots of free and exclusive material that's not available anywhere else. Furthermore, you can also book Skype lessons through the website. Again, just stick your email address in, I'll get right back to you with all the details. There's a store on the website where you can buy things if you like, help me out, struggling musician, etc. I'm also on SoundCloud as at Rowan-Parker, and there's lots of backing tracks on SoundCloud as well as other things. All the backing tracks are downloadable, they're all completely free. So, what else can we tell you about? I'm on Facebook. Facebook page is Rowan J Parker, you can like if you like. I'm on Twitter, you can follow me on Twitter, Rowan J Parker as well. And of course the YouTube channel, which is burgeoning with many videos. So if you're interested, I'm sure we can cater from you everything from very simple beginner stuff to outrageous shred and jazz and country stuff and classical stuff, and there's theory too, so yes, tons of stuff. Anywho, that will do it for this week. I will see you next week for episode 2 of Melodic Minor Music Theory 101. Till then, farewell.